Hi, and welcome to the Henna by Heather channel. Today I'm demonstrating a design that focuses on jhumkas and vines mostly. It is inspired by Bharathi Sanghani Mehndi, who does lots of jhumkas in her designs, and also my model Sarah Miller, because I think that she specifically asked for jhumkas. So first we start off with a drawing of a vine that goes in a pretty straight line and then curves off at the edge of the wrist. So it's a pretty straight line there, and then we do little teardrop shapes going in towards the line, and once those are all done, getting gradually smaller towards the curve, you go back and add a little point by dragging the tip of your henna cone back into the henna paste and pulling it out along the skin. So now you're watching that just happen at each little spot. And then from here, we're adding a set of double parallel lines to each side of that vine and finishing with just little trailing off dots because it doesn't otherwise have a very good little ending spot there. The idea is that it trails and doesn't look too blocky. And then to edge that off, we are adding humps. I do a few humps on each side and then also trail off with some little dot and drag things so that it gradually tapers off there too. To keep your humps of a pretty even size, you can do one section and then start somewhere else and then meet back with the section that you already made rather than going the whole way across. And then next, we're doing just some little swirls with some open leaves and some dots and teardrops just to have it flow off in that other direction and fill that space on the not so main part of the hand so that it doesn't end with too stark of a line. As you can see, I love those little graduated dots where they get bigger and smaller as they move and they kind of like flow with an S curve. All right, anyway, next we've got another section sectioned off again with the double parallel lines and the humps. This one's pretty straight, but it's got a little bit of a curve to it. What we're trying to do is create a V, but not like a super stark V, more of a gentle V so that it kind of curves with the edge of her hand. And now the star of the show, the giant jhumka. So it's got a little thing to hang from, and then you do the bell shape, do the bottom of the bell, add some little jingly bits, add some shading, put in some details with a bolder line, and maybe go back in and bolden up some of the lines, and there you go. And now we have baby jhumkas, which was definitely Sarah's part, and I don't even know how many times baby jhumkas was said in the course of doing this design. So we're just doing a whole bunch of them along the edge of that line there, adding shading to each one, putting a little mini bead above each one so that it's got a little more detail for what it's hanging off of. Give each one a second line at the bottom, some little dots and teardrops and lines to make the jingly bits because these baby jhumkas are too small to do the outlined jingly bits on the big one. So next we fill up another area of space with just kind of the traditional scallop radial fill where you do a little mini swirl, do a line that curves around that swirl, and then humps along that. You tuck each one in to the little corner made by the last two that you did, and just keep going, keep going. I don't know what I was doing right there. Probably just filling in little spots that I saw in the line where maybe it had broken a little bit and I didn't fill it in before. All right, next we have little V's at the fingertips. So these have become like pretty standard in a lot of my designs in the last year or two. People just love it. It's like a ring shape and it looks cute. It's also pretty traditional, but by doing it up towards the edge by the fingertip there, you're not putting it in a very standard ring kind of spot further down the hand because that would totally get smudged if you go all the way over to the edge of the finger like that and then move the hand. So all of that little air drawing was planning out what would happen next, thinking about it, kind of drawing in the air to see where it would go. And where we're going to go with it is this kind of vaguely inspired by Moroccan design V shape that's bigger, that kind of fits into that space made by the bigger V shape around the wrist and kind of mimics the little V shapes on the fingers. It's got the same hump edges, it's got the same little point right at the V spot. And then we've got these same teardrop bits here as are on the vine that goes across the wrist. And again, we're going back in and dabbing into the blobs of henna and pulling it out to make the little points. Again, always with the dots and the swirls and the extra little viney bits just to add a little bit of interest, fill up space. I sure love dots. And now really just adding stuff to the edges, which just kind of anchors that line down, gives it a little more interest, makes it not look quite like such a stark transition, and fills up those fingers. You'll see it's kind of random what's going in there. There's like a swirl, and then a swirl with a little line, and then a dot to the side, and there's not a lot of rhyme or reason other than each bit kind of tucks in and fits well with what's next to it. And then we just add a few little swirls on the finger just to fill up some space there, and then a bit of air drawing, figuring out what to do next, larger picture layout wise. And what we decided to do is to do those little V-shaped rings, but then also create more space to fill between them, so that we can do some more of that little scallopy radial fill since we only have it in one spot. You always kind of want to repeat your elements a few times just for consistency and coherence. So there we go. We're doing those little fan shapes that we had done early in the design as well, realizing we needed to do that again. And then, of course, lots of dots. Dots just make everything look better and cooler all around. Alright, and then last but not least, we've got these little outlinings of the fingers, and then we're going to fill them in. And this is to give the look of the dipped fingertips of kind of really classical henna, where you would just actually dip your whole fingertip, fingernails and all, front, back of the fingertip and everything into like a little pot of henna to get really good dark coverage, and just as like the easiest way of doing your nails. Well, not that easy, because of course you have to prepare the henna paste and everything, but we're mimicking that classic look. And then just kind of do a thin outline, thick outline around it, and then fill in the space. And of course those pesky thumbs, just have the person who's having the henna done put their hand in another direction so you can actually reach the side of their thumb, and just go ahead and fill that in the same way. And with that, everything is pretty much done. Just some little finishing bits and a little more finishing bits. And there we go. That is the final design. If you enjoyed this, I hope you would consider subscribing to my channel. And if you are someone who does henna, you might want to visit artisticadornment.com, which is where we sell henna supplies, including the same really finely sifted, beautiful Mohana henna that we were using in this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I am going to now add a very cheesy little thing at the end here for you. My dad has suggested that I should have a jingle for Artistic Adornment. I am not sure I agree, but anyway, I'm gonna sing it for you. Please vote in the comments if any jingle is a good or bad idea, and if this jingle is cute or stupid or both. So here it is. It goes, Artistic Adornment, great henna will send ya. So let me know, and please subscribe either way, whether you love or hate the jingle. Thanks, bye.